Red Laurel here to put together a quick little demo, hopefully, about how to set up a SmartThings node proxy running on a Raspberry Pi Zero. The process should be pretty similar with other operating systems, so just use Google to kind of figure things out if you do run into any problems. But I think the Raspberry Pi Zero is going to be a good test for us to actually run through because it is hopefully one of the ones with the most quirks. So we'll just give it a go. So the first thing we're going to do is pull up the FAQ here on SmartThings. So the first thing that we want to do is actually, once we've identified our host machine, obviously, is download Node.js and get Node.js running. So for most of you, if you're running Windows, you want to download Node.js from here, Mac, or if you are running a Linux distribution, Debian, Ubuntu, CentOS, etc. For the Raspberry Pi, I found this article here. It's pretty good. It actually talks about how to remove Raspberry Pi that already comes pre-installed in Raspbian, and then going through the steps to actually update that. So let's give it a shot. So the first thing we're going to do is get into the Raspberry Pi. And by the way, this is a brand new Raspberry Pi Zero. Picked one up for about $5 plus some accessories, so probably 15-20 bucks all in. Pretty nifty little device. So once we get in, the first thing that this guy here tells us, Jarrett, is to make sure that we uninstall whatever version of Node that is installed here. So we're going to remove that. Okay, once that's done, we'll get ready for the next one. Okay. And then the last one. Now, mind you, if you're doing a clean install on Windows or Mac or some of the other Linux distributions, you're not going to have to go through this. This is just because an older version of Node comes prepackaged with Raspbian. So we want to blow that away and put on the latest 6X version. Okay, so I think that command is done, and now let's run this one. Okay, so now let's do an apt-get auto remove. Oh, it's very fancy, so we'll do sudo here. Yes, please. And all that should get blown away. Thank you very much. Okay, so now we will install the latest, which is 6X. So if you're running Raspberry Pi regular, you want to do this, but I don't think this is going to work. Yeah, it doesn't. So it says we need to do a different one. We need to download a different one. So we'll just download it from here, but we're going to actually get the latest 6X, not this 445. So we need to go to Node.js, and we're going to download, which one? This one? Oops, not to my computer. So we will say, copy the link. And we'll go here and we'll say, where are you taking us to? And we say, thank you very much. We go here and we say, okay, so we're going to do wget against this guy. And so we'll go back here, let's see where we are. Okay, so we'll do wget. We're getting 691. Okay, so now we've downloaded. Let's go back here. We need to extract our archive. Thank you very much. Okay, now we will go into here and we will do this. And then he tells us to reboot. So we'll do that. And then we will wait for the Raspberry Pi Zero to come back. And then when he does, we will make sure that Node is up and running and get the SmartThings Node Proxy going. Okay, so the Raspberry Pi came back, and now we're going to get back in. Good. And we're going to do a Node V, and we see we are running 691. Awesome. Okay, so now that we've got the latest version of Node running, what we're going to do is we're going to get SmartThings Node Proxy. So first thing is, so we're looking at the Git repo here for SmartThings, for all of the SmartThings stuff that I've put up. And to set up SmartThings Node Proxy, the only thing you need is this folder right here. So there's a couple ways you can do this. You can either download the whole folder, and then, or if you want, you can just download individual files. I recommend you just download the whole folder. It's a lot easier. So the best thing to do is just click on this link right here. It says clone or download. And then you can just copy this. Just click right here. It says copy zip. But I don't want to do it on this machine, so I will copy the link. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a wget. So let's see, where are we again? So I'll just go to my downloads here on my Raspberry Pi. And I will do a wget for this. And there we go. And now we should have master.zip. And now we need to unzip this puppy. So we are going to, let me see, what was the, okay. Okay, so we'll just do an unzip maybe. There we go. So now we can go to SmartThings Master, and basically it's an entire replica of the GitHub repo. And so we don't need any of these other folders really. I mean, we'll just copy out SmartThings Node Proxy. We'll just copy this out. And yep. And then everything else here we can just delete because we do not need this on this actual computer. So we will delete SmartThings Master. Thank you. And now we'll go into SmartThings Node Proxy. You see it's just in my downloads folder. It doesn't matter where you download this. Doesn't matter where you put it. Node will run, no problem. So let's see what we've got here. So we've got the available plugins folder, config.json sample, package.json, restart me. So first of all, let's remove the restart me because I know a lot of people have a problem with that. So we'll get rid of it. We'll get rid of the SmartThings Node Proxy service because that again is specific to a operating system, and if you don't know how to configure that, then don't even bother. So all we really need is, let's see here, the config.json, package.json, server.js, and then our plugins folder. So the first thing that we'll do is we'll create a folder called plugins. And then what we can do is from our available plugins, we'll just move whatever plugins we want into the plugins folder. But I want all of them. So I will move all of them to the plugins folder. And now if we go to plugins, we see they're all here. Okay, so now we've got the plugin for the InvisiLink, which is the connector to the InvisiLink module that you can install on Honeywell, Ademco, and DSC alarm panels. There's a generic plugin, which is just a sample that I wrote to show how you can communicate asynchronously with the SmartThings hub. There's this NPR SG6Z plugin, which is for the monoprice receiver. Actually, I don't want to run that one because the RNet is the plugin for the Rusound multi-zone controller, and the NPR is for the basically this similar device but made by monoprice. And so since both of them are going to connect over serial port, we don't want both of them configured. So let's just remove that one for now. Actually, we'll just move it back to the available plugins folder. Okay, so now we got the InvisiLink, the generic, and the RNet one. So what we're going to do is, and if you want, you can actually delete the available plugins folder. You don't need that. It's not going to use it for anything. So the config.json sample has a bunch of comments in here that have /. These things will not work. I put those in there so that it at least provided, you know, everybody with some comments, and so that they could sort of understand what, you know, the different parameters are for. But as you'll see, if I try to take this and put this into into the whatchamacallit, into a JSON editor, it will not work. So let's see if we can do that right now. Oops. I'll take part of it, and we'll go here to JSON mate. So this is the bottom half. And let me just get the top half. Okay. So we see if we put this thing in here, this thing is gonna bomb. It's not gonna like it. So I'm gonna say beautify, and he says, see, it doesn't like it. There's like all these comments. So what we need to do is we need to actually construct our JSON configuration file based on our unique requirements or our unique setup. This is just supposed to be a sample. So we already have one right here, our JSON config here. So what we got to do is go back to a Raspberry Pi, and we'll just create a new JSON file, and then we will take the config that I've already set up and we will paste it here, and then we will write this, and then we will get out of here. So now let's see what we got. So we got our config JSON and our server.js and our plugins. So this all looks pretty good. So let's go back to our FAQ to make sure that we're following the instructions. So it says download the SmartThings node proxy and place it in a folder. Okay, so we did, but we put it in a different folder. We did this plugins. We moved the plugins over. We did the config JSON. We edited it to match whatever we wanted to. And I even said something here about remove all the comments. Okay, so we did our config JSON. Okay, man, there's a lot of stuff for config JSON. Okay, so now we're ready to fire up the server. Now, the one step that I did forget to mention, which actually now running through this, I realized, is we need to do a npm install. So what happens is that what we've done is we've installed Node, which is the service framework, but we haven't installed any of the dependencies that SmartThings node proxy service requires. So those are actually in package.json. So if you're interested, if you're so inclined, you can check out package.json. So in order to install those things, what we got to do is we got to do an npm install. And then what this is going to do is this is going to read from our package.json and actually install the dependencies for us. So let's wait and see what happens. Okay, so the npm install process finally finished. And let's take a look here, and we can see that there's this node modules folder, which contains, if we go in, we'll see, which contains all the dependencies required to support the SmartThings node proxy service. Okay, so now we should be good to go, I think. So we should just be able to type node server.js and see this puppy fire up. And there we go. And we see that it gave us this error, RNet connection error, no such file or directory cannot open, blah, blah, blah. That's because the in our config.json, I had this serial port defined because I took this config.json from my Mac. And that's not how the serial port is named here on the Raspberry Pi Zero.